Hi, my name is Bukan, and today I'll be reviewing this book, Wings of Fire, The Dragonet Prophecy, which was written by TUI Sutherland in 2012. And just a quick spoiler alert for every single book in this series and this book before we get into this review. Alright, if you don't want spoilers, you should be gone because the review is starting. Alright, just to get it out of the way, I just completely love this book and series. So I first found it when I was 7, when I had nothing to read and I was looking around in the school library. And now I have the entire collection of this series, and it's just down there. So it's really interesting. So the book's plot revolves around the dragonets from a prophecy. I still can't say that word. It's like prophecy. But a prophecy that states that they're going to end a 20-year-old war. And I really like how they built the world that this book takes place in, as it's kind of like the normal world, but also really different. So the most obvious thing, which you can guess from the title and cover, is dragons exist in this world, and they're like the apex predator. For them, humans also exist, but in this world, we're like just puny beings that only exist to be prey. And we just are there, but basically we're just prey for the dragons. And another really cool thing that this book does, and in the world building of this book and series, is instead of having kings as the leading monarch in everything, in this book, queens are in charge. So, for example, this war, the 20-year-old war that the dragonets are destined to end, is actually about the lineage of who of the three sisters gets to become the queen of the Sand Kingdom, which is a very interesting idea because normally in these books it's about kings, right? But it's an interesting spin on things we're so used to. So it's really nice that it has queens. So, moving on from the world, let's talk a little bit about the main characters. So, as I previously mentioned, there are 5 main characters in this book, and they're the 5 dragonets that are destined to end the 20-year-old war. These dragonets are named Sunny, Tsunami, Glory, Starflight, Clay, and that's it. And this book centers around Clay, which is the dragon that's depicted on the cover. Clay is a mudwing, and he's like a big brother to the rest of the dragonets, and he really wants to find his own family, and he's the oldest one, and he's kind of like the protector of all the others. So it's really interesting to see Clay's arc, because at the start of the book he really wants to find his family, but as the book progresses he meets his family when they escape from the Sky Palace, and he finds that they don't like care as much, and he realizes that his best family would be the people that he's grown up with, which is like a really wholesome message that's inside his character arc. Now let's talk a little bit about the plot. Because it's a series, this book's plot doesn't make a lot of sense. So it starts off with the dragonets, and the prelogue talks about the war and everything that's happened, but it doesn't really resolve anything so far in this book. What really happens is they get kidnapped by Queen Scarlet, who's one of the villains, and they escape from Queen Scarlet's castle by poisoning her. And after they escape, Clay goes and finds his family. But after that, the book basically ends because, as you can see, it's not a very long book, and there's still 5 other books in this series, so you can't really have a fully wrapping up plot. However, it is still really satisfying, and I think that's mainly because of the villains that are in this book. So the 2 main villains, well, there's pretty much one actually. So the main villain that's everything is centering around is Queen Scarlet, and the cool thing is she remains a villain for the next 9 books in this series. And in this book, the dragonets deal with her by poisoning her in the face and poisoning her in the face, essentially, and stopping her from being able to find them. So she was the one that imprisoned them in her castle. But another one of the minor villains is named Mauricia, and he's the one that made the dragonets get the idea of escaping from the cave where they were being held. So yeah, I think the villains really add a lot more depth to this book, and I would highly recommend it to anyone that wants to read a book that's nice, wants to read a book about fantasy and dragons, but doesn't want it to be too gritty or demanding. It's quite a short read, as I said before, and I think it's really good for anyone aged 9 to 12. If you enjoyed this review, please consider subscribing as it would really help out the channel. Thanks for listening. Bye.